All right, in this section, which is Chapter 9, Section 3, we were learning about how to solve word problems in a different way than we had been. The important thing here is that you have to write 2 let statements and 2 equations. And you're basically writing a system of equations that you're then going to solve using some of the other methods that we've already learned. So if I have 20 nickels and dimes worth $1.75, how many of each coin, whoops, there's a typo, how many of each coin does she have? So the thing that I don't know is how many nickels and how many dimes I have. So that's going to be my 2 let statements. Let x equal the number of nickels, let y equal the number of dimes. Now I have to write 2 equations. The first part of this sentence gives me my first equation. I have 20 coins altogether. So remember, x and y are talking about number of coins. My number of coins has a total of 20, so x plus y equals 20. The second equation I'm going to get from the fact that all my money together adds up to $1.75. Now, if x is the number of nickels I have, that means I have 5 times x cents. That's how much money I have in nickels. If y, whoops, gosh, okay. If y is my number of dimes, I have 10 times y. That's how much money I have for my dimes. Altogether, all that money adds up to $1.75. Notice that all of my money units here are in cents. You have to be consistent. So if you put cents on the left, you have to have cents on the right. If you put dollars on the left, you have to put dollars on the right. I think it's always easiest to keep your money in terms of cents because then you don't have to work with decimals. Now I've written my system of equations, and now I'm going to solve it using the substitution method. So if I take my top equation, pick a variable, I'll choose to get x alone. So I'll rearrange the top equation so that x equals 20 minus y. Then I'm going to take this quantity and substitute that into my other equation, 4x. So 5 times the quantity, 20 minus y, plus 10y, equals 175. And now I just need to solve. It's an equation in one variable, and that's easy to solve. So 100 minus 5y, I'm just distributing the 5, plus 10y, equals 175. I'm going to combine my like terms. So 100 plus 5y equals 175. Subtract 100 from both sides, and then divide both sides by 5. So y equals 15. Now, that means if y is my number of dimes, that means I have 15 dimes. And the question asks, how many of each coin does she have? So I have to also know how many nickels I have. So if y is 15, you can choose either of your starting equations and plug it in. I'll plug in 15 there for y, so that means x is 5. So that means I have 5 nickels and 15 dimes. Now, the way you check if you're right is you go back and ask yourself, okay, if I have 5 nickels and 15 dimes, do I really have $1.75? So 5 nickels would be worth 25 cents. My 15 dimes would be worth 150 cents. So yes, I do have 175 cents. You always want to check your answers against the words in the word problem, not in your equations, because if you've made a mistake writing your equations, you're not going to find your mistake. Let's do one more word problem. So, Mr. Eilberg has $3.20 in dimes and quarters. He has 7 more dimes than quarters. How many quarters does he have? So for this problem, I don't know how many coins there are altogether, but I know that there's some relationship between the 2 numbers of coins. So let me again start with my let statements. I'll let x equal the number of dimes. I'll let y equal the number of quarters. And let's look at the first sentence. He has $3.20 in dimes and quarters. So I'm talking about the value of the coin. Anytime you're talking about the value of the coin, you have to take the number of coins and multiply it by the value of that coin. So if I have X number of dimes, that's equal to 10X cents. And if I have Y quarters, that's equal to 25Y amount of cents. So the sum of that value of the dimes and the quarters is equal to 320. Same as in the last problem, I've kept all my money units consistent. Now, the second equation is a little harder to write. He has 7 more dimes than quarters. So somehow the number of dimes and the number of quarters are related, but I have more dimes than quarters. So if X are my dimes, I think sometimes it's helpful to write under here what these variables mean. And Y are the quarters, and I have more dimes. That means I have to add the 7 to my number of quarters to equal the number of dimes. If I have more dimes than quarters, that means I have to add 7 to the coins that I have fewer of. So those are my two equations. And from there, you can solve using substitution again. And I think you guys will know how to do that by just plugging in that quantity for X and then solving the equation that you're left with in one variable. If you want to do that one on your own, I'll take a pause here and then I'll write the answer down on the next screen. So if you've done your work already, the correct answer is that he has 17 dimes and 10 quarters.